größte Schier.
Ein bisschen Aloha.
Allah Schier.
Wichtige Alochas. Basically, usually people, when they want to learn, they learn Yeridaya, they learn Shabbos. You know, they do gedichte Sachen. Heilig Beis, do Yeridaya Heilig Beis, do Yontov. When it comes to Tefillah, most people don't know it. This is for Kinder and Geider. Yeah, it's kinderlijk en Geider. In kinderlijk Geider lernt man auch nicht alle Luches. So, ich will sich aufstellen von one simmer was Alter Rebbe had, which is very, very important. Alter Rebbe talks about the Indian of Tefillah. We know, we mentioned already, Tefillah b'tzibur is one of the things which is very, very important by Yidden, Klal Yisrael. The Rebbe once said, as I mentioned yesterday, that Tefillah b'tzibur means a person should jump in and say my yeshiva in the middle of the year. Because the Gemara says, Kam b'tzibur, kam b'yuchid. That means that tzibur can always do tshuva. A yuchid b'ikir has a zman koisher, says my yeshiva. So that means that tzibur is like a yuchid in says my yeshiva. So when a person learns davens b'tzibur, it is mamash you tanzt dran and says my yeshiva. But what is Tefillah b'tzibur? What is the concept of Tefillah b'tzibur? Now Tefillah b'tzibur means mitzad lekitchila 10 people should start burich at Hashem Shemoneh together. Not that one is holding by Ezras and 9 people are holding by burich. 10 people should start burich. The Chroinim pushing in that if within the first bracha there are 10 people, that's fine. Then the Chroinim also tell us, it's based on Simash Kleine Shulchan Aruch, as if you have 6 people who daven, that's also considered Tefillah b'tzibur. It's not 100% like Tefillah. There are places in the Yeshivische Welt which will not start Shemoneh Esrei if you don't have 10 people. 6 is nicht. Aber okay, in Tzimmerung nehmen wir Aluch, if you have 6 people and you have another 4 people which are davening, that's Tefillah b'tzibur. Fine. Mekubal. Fine. What is if a person comes and that, by the way, therefore, when a person comes, it davens with the oilam, you should make sure that when it comes, Hashem Elokeicha, one of the reasons that there's a halacha it's mentioned in the Poskim in Shulchan Aruch that you have to wait for a rov, but Krishma, one of the reasons is takakovat for the rov. But the second reason, the most important reason is in order that you should have a tzibur b'spalalam, because once you say Hashem Elokeicha Me'emes, automatically we go to Shemoneh Esrei. So therefore a lot of people, when the Chazal says Hashem Elokeicha Me'emes, they are in the middle of reading Sichas HaShavia or whatever it is, and they chappen sich when we're talking about Shemoneh Esrei. But what happens? They lost out Tefillah b'tzibur, and the tzibur might have lost out Tefillah b'tzibur. So it's Gedai, push it, Hashem Elokeicha Me'emes, the people should start davening together. But what is if a person comes into Shul? Very important halacha which most people don't know. A person comes into Shul, and the Tefillah, for Mincha, for Ma'ariv, and the oilam davens Shemoneh Esrei already. What should he do? Should he daven? Start davening, and if he misses Kedusha, he misses Kedusha, or he should not start davening. And if he doesn't start davening, when should he start davening? Right after Kedusha? It's complicated halacha. It's nicht poshet. Because there is a halacha Shulchan Aruch, a few nikidas. First, the kiddah is you have to say Kedusha with the tzibur. Not only have to say Kedusha with the tzibur, you have to say Omein of Ata Kudosh, because Ata Kudosh is a part of the Kedusha. So therefore, one of the reasons why Ba'as in Chabad, which most Welt is not makbid, which I don't understand why, but by instance it's very unanimous that we stay with the feet together till after Kehel Kodesh. Why? Because in Shulchan Aruch state till after Kehel Kodesh is a part of Shemoneh Esrei, of Kedusha. But it's a chiyuv to say Amen after Kehel Kodesh and after Shema Tefillah. So we have one halacha you have to say Kedusha. Second halacha you have to say Amen after Kehel Kodesh. Third halacha you have to say Amen after Shema Tefillah. Fourth halacha you have to say Moedim together with the tzibur, with the chazan. And not only that, if the tzibur says Shemoneh Esrei, and people don't know that. If people the Shemoneh the shlich tzibur says Moedim, and you hold the mitna v'lam malshinim, you have to bow in the middle of the bruch, not in the beginning and at the end. In the middle of the bruch, if you hold, you have to bow. Then there's a locha after davening, you have to say Omer Yesh Me'Rabba. So it's very complicated. If you come when the tzibur started, let's say mincha, what do you need to do? So there's a whole siman Shulchan Aruch, siman Kif Tes Shulchan Aruch, where the Alter Rebbe goes through this halachas. And the answer is like this. First of all, in the Shikhanur, the Alter Rebbe says that you should not daven, which today is very accepted, that you should not daven Shemoneh together with Shlich Tzibur. Sometimes people see they won't make it, they start Shemoneh together with Shlich Tzibur. The Alter Rebbe says you don't do it. Why don't you do it? Because it has some complications in halacha. One of the complications is because the Shlich Tzibur, you have to say it together with Shlich Tzibur the whole davening. And Nagdishach, we don't say, the minig was not to say Nagdishach, only the Shlich Tzibur used to say Nagdishach. And the Oil most only said Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh. So therefore the Shekhanuk to the Alter Rebbe, you should not daven with the Tzibur Shemoneh Esrei. But the Achronim say that nowadays, and I want to make it clear because I heard already some people say, Alter Rebbe Shreit Azoi, Al Shreit Azoi. The Achronim say that since nowadays we say Nagdishach also, there's the meaning of Gans Klal Yisrael, that they say Nagdishach, although by us we don't say no, we don't say Bursham Kohen what is it? If they were a Kashku Salayim, we let Shlich Tzibur say it. Some say it because the Rebbe used to say it's a slide. But I can put him in Inzel say the Shtayt that you don't say Kodesh Kodesh Burach, we don't say that. But the Nagdishach we all say. So Zugn Achroinam that since we do say this, if you want to start with the Shlich Tzibur, that will be the ideal thing. If you come and you see that then that's the ideal thing. Start with Shlich Tzibur and say word by word with him, and then you should say Nagdishach. Then you should also say Lemus B'Shapchem Moeberim. A person who doesn't says it, you should say. That means you have to say everything. Not only that, the Achronim have our shmiz if it's Ashkenaz shul, and after Kedusha they say L'doi V'doi Nagid Godlach. What should you say? And most of them say that you have to say L'doi V'doi. You have to say what the Shlich Tzibur says. Do a Shraga Mayer, one of the Rashnei Balks, who is a Rov in Europe, he has a whole tshuva that you could say Ata Kudesh. Okay. But again, so when you start, you have to say, since we say Nagdishach, so we don't have the problems the Alter Rebbe says of the Tirazov that there's a problem you won't say something with the Shlich Tzibur. We should start davening together and say the whole davening till the end. Now if a person, the daven Shlich Tzibur happens to be very slow, and you see that, the never spielte. You can't say everything with the other. You could only daven for yourself only if you will come to Kaila Kudesh, you are finished already. If you can't make it, then you cannot do it. If you could make it to finish till a Kaila Kudesh, most the Babshins have no problem. But I'm talking about some because nobody gets nervous for the Shlich Tzibur. What? Shemay Tefillah. You have to have Shemay Tefillah. But if you don't have, if you can make it, you have to daven the Shlich Tzibur. So the Alter Rebbe says like this: you're coming over here in davening in shul mincha ma'ariv. Shach is not so negaya because it doesn't happen. There's a psik in the zimra. But if it happens, it could be happen b'shach zochet. You see, the Shlich Tzibur is already in the middle of v'lam al shinim. You have to judge yourself. Can I start davening and finish? I should be able to finish when the Shlich Tzibur comes to kedusha. Then you can start. Only then you can start. If not, you're not allowed to start because you cannot lose the kedusha. If you see that you cannot make it, so you cannot start. If you could start after a Kaila Kudesh and finish before a Shema Tefillah of the Shlich Tzibur, you could do it. Don't do it because then you chipper of the Shemoneh Esrei, but I can put it in. Halachically you do. If you have a Shlich Tzibur which davens like, then you do it. If you cannot stop the Kaila, you can't do it. Even more. So what are you going to say? Okay, I'm not going to start till after a Kaila Kudesh. Then you have a different problem. What's going to be with Moedim? Well, you have to bow together with the Shlich Tzibur Moedim. So the Alter Rebbe says, if when you come to Burichat Hashem, Mugen Avruam, you have to bow, and the Shlich Tzibur will hold by Moedim, that's also fine. Because you bow, if you miscalculate it, and the Shlich Tzibur comes to Moedim, and you are in the middle of Ra'aynu, make sure in the middle of Ra'aynu bow, not by Burchatu. In the middle of you can bow, because you're not supposed to bow the end of the tefillah, end from Burichat. If you see you cannot make it, you could only start Moedim after Moedim. If you could finish till Uman Yahish Marabu. The Alter Rebbe says not Uman Yahish Marabu, till Yahish Marabu. Even if you lose the Uman, we could the Yahish Marabu you can't lose. So you see, it's very small windows. So the first thing you should learn from here: don't come late to shul. That's first of all. Don't come daven. Says the Chabek daven with Aleph B'Tov. wie a oile mit a mensch, you know. The Alter Rebbe sucht schon in Shechanurach, that you shouldn't send Shlich Tzibur auch in Tanya, you shouldn't send Shechanurach who chippers of the davening, and don't send people like daven, like the old Klen Rebbe, which they used to daven, 3.5 hours. You have to be mamutza. So the first thing, don't come late. If you come late, then you have to make calculations. But if you see that you can't make it, the ideal thing we'll do, start Burich like it is with the Shlich Tzibur, and go every word with him. Try every word with him. Not every word, but at least the end of the bracha should be together with the Shlich Tzibur. You should say Kedisha with the Shlich Tzibur. You should say, as I mentioned before, the Dirkash Chusalaymer. You should say a Kaila Kudosh. Bow when he comes to Moedim. Go through the whole davening, then you are safe. Because once you finish, he says, even if you want to say tefillas, like the Alter Rebbe has a whole simon, kifi test, that you should say, if a person wants to be, he has his personal tefillas which he wants to say, by Lekayin and third, you could say all kind of tefillas. Och taluchas, when, what, where, but there's a lot that you could say. That's one of the reasons you can see. You go today's day in Lakewood, you see the yeshiva world davens Shemoneh Esrei very long. One of the sibas is because they got nishpa of Chassidim and tefillah became a object, and they took over our job, yeah. Yeah, and second of all, they say al-kain and so like Ashkevani Yavini. Al-Kaponim. So that's with the Alter Rebbe, but since you could answer you could be marach b'alakayin tzor. And yeah, that's another thing which we have to know. Shlich Tzibur has to say everything loud, and the Shlich Tzibur, another thing which we don't realize, it's very important. I have always issues with it, and I had it even this Shabbos, and that's why I asked one of my shchainim should say kedusha loud. You have to say kedusha in a year middle of Shemoneh Esrei, whatever. Oh, one thing I want to say. Steht aber in the Poskim, Mishabarir is mistopic, but the Achronim say, since we have so complicated halachas, what if a person wants to daven long Shemoneh Esrei? So when he finishes Shemoneh Esrei, Shlich Tzibur holds by Kedisha. What should he do? He shouldn't start the davening together with oil with Tzibur? Zug, Mishabarir has a sufuk, but the Achronim zug no. If you start with the Shlich Tzibur, you say tefillah b'Tzibur, I don't have to say daven fast because I should. If you lose Kedisha, you lose Kedisha. But what is the solution not to lose the Kedisha? The solution is the Shlich Tzibur should say the whole Kedisha aloud. The whole Kedisha means from Nagdishach till Kodesh, and very important, the Poskim are very strict about this. Kodesh, Burich, Imlech. L'davanayni, most of the Batfilas, not by us, but all over, they don't know this halacha, they only finish, L'mus B'shapim Oimrim, if do a Kashkis Laima. So what happens? Somebody is in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, loses out of Kedisha. Shtayten Levi Shemotcha, one of the great Poskim before World War II, he was a Ruvimada, a very popular poisek of the Hungarian Rus. Schreibt the doctor that you can ask a neighbor. The Shlich Tzibur, you feel that you can, but you have a shochan, which he says Kedisha, tell him he should see loud. Shmai Kohen is not only through the Shlich Tzibur, Shmai Kohen is also if you have anyone who says the whole Kedisha in so
singing Rolakeno.
What?
Chazan has to sing out loud.
Okay. But anything, the best thing will be that Shlich Tzibur should say everything loud. Although the Olim says it loud, you say even louder than that. And if you can't make it, just wink. You cannot say for the Shlich Tzibur, but you can say for your neighbor. But if you wink, make it loud, and he should say every word. Then you're Yotzei Shemai Koina also.
You're allowed to do that in Shemoneh Esrei?
Yes, because you don't want to lose. As I mentioned before, also for one of the people, I brought here a sefer for the Tzibur, which one of my books is a handbook for all the halachas when a person makes a tours in davening. Yeah, you forgot this. It's not only davening, it's davening, it's kiddush, it's avdollah, it's all kind of mistakes. A very interesting phenomenon. All mistakes which you have by saying, you started a hoidi, you immediately find yourself middle level Latzian. It happens from time to time if you have too much kavana. and if halal, he said, I had this Chanukah. A person said halal, chotzi halal. What do you need to do? Halal sholem, with a bracha, all the halach. It's very kiddush, avdollah, night of Shabbos. Benching every halacha, and other books I have a lot of footnotes. Over here I made it marriage just. So somebody asked me, you have to learn the whole sefer before davening. You have a problem, middle of Shemoneh Esrei. You don't remember where you hold. You have a problem, you don't remember what you need to do. Since you have a problem, what are you going to do? You cannot just avoid it and say davening again. You could stop in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, go to the Oren HaKoide, Oren Sforim, take out the Shulchan Aruch, look the halacha, and be mamshich. The Shulchan Aruch. Because that's not considered hefsek davening, because that's a heilig of davening. For instance, another thing. A person he forgot by mistake, he brought his smartphone or his telephone in shul, which he shouldn't do, but he forgot. He forgot, not only the smartphone, regular phones too. No, not on Shabbos. But if he forgot, and he brought his phone, even a flip phone, in davening, and he forgot it to shut off. Okay, you want to bring it, shut it off. But he forgot to bring it. So I had a story, I had a mashpia coming to us for bringen in Hechmanachem, and his phone started ringing mit Shemoneh Esrei. And he dam Shemoneh Esrei, and he rings, in the whole oil geworden, weiß, steht Tag in the oil. And if he macht sich shit tun. Okay, after a while it stops. After a minute, his wife needs Pampers, so he calls again. Again he calls 3 times. After that, he goes to him and says, why didn't you just, you heard it? He tells me, it's middle of Shemoneh Esrei. It's awesome. So when steht in Shulchan Aruch, als wenn hast a kind, mit der Hals mit Shemoneh Esrei, hast a kind, and the kind lässt dich nicht davenen, because he needs the bathroom, a small kind, or whatever, kannst nicht davenen weiter, hast kein Kavuna. So some tatas will say, chip up the davenen, and take him. Steht in Shulchan Aruch, nein. And jetzt sagen sie, steht dich in Tefillah, if it's emergency, weißt, amol is this, you could say for the child, he wants to ask you something, you could wait. But some attack in the fields, or a child fell down, and it's good, you have to tell for the women too. The women who daven, which basically, the jetzt is a chiv, it's an alter Rebbe, the Mishnah is a koitze daven shachas, the fuchar Shemoneh Esrei. But in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, a child fell, something happened. So what did he do? She's in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. No, you stop, you do what you need, and then you go back to davening. Why? Because the Shemoneh Esrei means kavona. And Shemoneh Esrei without kavona, you're batching up the whole Shemoneh Esrei.
That's what Alter Rebbe talk about, is how it's going to disturb everybody else.
The Alter Rebbe, the new version of the Alter Rebbe, which is already made 2023, and has all these phones in common. Then the Alter Rebbe's time there was no phones.
So take care of a kid because it can disturb the.
Yeah, they sagen in Halucha. If it's not matter the catch then you have to. But again, don't abuse it. So I tell for that guy, for that mishpia, you feel your phone is disturbing the oilam. Take it out, shut it down, and daven weiter. I'm glad you told me. I didn't know. And it's right. In Tefillah is very chumar. In the Maimah, which we said yesterday, the Rebbe as Mezeitas, as the hefresh between the Tefillah and Kedisha, we see it by hefsek. It is true. But Tefillah is very hefsek. You know what else is very the same as davening Shemoneh Esrei? Also won't bring it to your attention. You know what is exactly like Shemoneh Esrei? You cannot wink, you cannot fold the phone, you cannot say, ooh, ah, ah. Birchas Hamuzen.
Which part? The first part?
The Birchas Hamuzen, yeah.
The whole thing or the first part?
Du got me schon aber the first Bruch for sure. Mamash also wie Shemoneh Esrei. And it's interesting to do our cipher says he saw the Shorish Avoida. He's a Mr. Cipher, not a Chsidish Cipher. He's a Cipher, he's a big tzaddik, a heilig. He came to the Mezrach Shemagit. He wanted to become a Talmud of Mezrach Shemagit. The Mezrach Shemagit said, Chsidis is not for you. Die blab mit deiner Avoide. Klar, es ist doch du jeden Sache mit deiner Avoide auch. And he made a very interesting cipher. He's a very nice Mr. Cipher. And he writes over there, he brings a part, a bench, we should know that bench is like tefillah. And he says, always before I bench, I pick up my hands to Hashem and said, do me a favor, the big deals which he had already. Do me a favor. I want to start benching. Please help me. Nobody should come bother me in the middle of benching. I should be able to bench b'kavona. So we have to, realize Birchas Hamuzen is very chumar, and that's why the same as we need to have a jacket. We need to have a hat and jacket when you say a Birchas Hamuzen. People don't realize. The what? I got this.
A napkin of the young.
No, a napkin. Okay, what? The Eike, nein. Hiken ist in der Sardine, 12 ist Sardine in Birchas Hamuzen. Das ist eine chsidische Sache, aber die ersten Aloha, man darf wissen, you have to know what's Aloha, what's Minig, because when you start mixing the Aloha with Minig with feelings, then it's a big problem. one of the Gdoli Yisrael, which the Rebbe did not mention. And his followers were bothered by it. But after Gimel Tamas, so they gave out a book. It's called Oy Rebbe, all the news clips. So I'm a bookworm. So I went through in one of the interviews, Itonai asked the Rebbe this question: why are you ignoring him? So the Rebbe says he was a great Yid. He had one big problem. He was a big Talmid Chacham, he was a very big Bal Hergesh, and he mixed Hergeishim mit Halacha, mit Ashkufa, mit feelings, mit Menhugam. A good Yisrael has to know what's Halacha, what's. So let's just sum up in the Haldu. The Haldu is what I'm doing. Tefillah B'tzibur is a very important thing. Tefillah B'tzibur is very important, and I made once a collection just from the Rebbe and the Friedige Rebbe where they speak about Tefillah B'tzibur. It's fascinating to know how much they push the thing. It got lost. But very interesting. The Rebbe schreibt, even in Hayoim Yoim, there's 2 or 3 times that Friedige Rebbe writes, which you have at least 2 things. I think 2 sicher, efter von der 3. But the that eine von den Sachen ist Tefillah B'tzibur. The Tefillah B'tzibur is a chushev Sach. It's not chushev, is a choiv. So, when it comes to davening, you have to know, Tefillah B'chlal means kavona. In Ishmanesin is ma'akev. If you said the first bracha, you had no kavona, is ma'akev. In Tzad Halucha, you have to say it over. In some Mashim, the Hashem Tov says, you don't daven over by this, because you're going to forget the second time too. But Akapunam,
It's even worse.
It's even worse, yeah. Agav, do a nice bearded Halucha.
That was a one-time thing with his brother-in-law.
Yeah, but that's not. There's a nice, in the new Heichel of Hashem Tov, which just came out, it's not yet in America, there's a nice article from Rav Zinner on this halacha of the Hashem Tov. It's Gabriel Zinner. It's Kedai to read. That's just some people have to take their children to Cheder. Just some up. Tefillah B'tzibur is a chiyuv. Tefillah B'tzibur is very important. Tefillah B'tzibur means when lefuchas 6 people start together with the dus, and anybody who starts afterwards is a shalat to Tefillah B'tzibur. By the way, if you start Shemoneh with the Shlich Tzibur, you daven together with the Shlich Tzibur, that's according to the Chassam Sofer Iker Tefillah B'tzibur. Most poskim do not agree with the Chayrik Chassam Sofer. Aber Akapunam, you know, the Rebbe given like noise. The Friedige, the Chassam Sofer halt, hat gedam eigentlich mit der Shlich Tzibur. When I tell this is Tefillah B'tzibur. Not when he was Chayzer. When he halt dus Iker Tefillah B'tzibur. The poskim say no. But they agree, like the Chassam Sofer, that if you daven together with Shlich Tzibur, you start together, that's Tefillah B'tzibur. So if a person comes in the old Tzibur, is already davening, it's not necessarily that you will be able, all the halachos which we say is only if you are permitted to start davening, because you're going to lose Kedisha, you're going to lose a Umain, you're going to lose Moedim. But according to most poskim, it's not Tzibur, you lost the Tefillah B'tzibur already.
Okay.
What?
I mentioned this before I was listening. People are trying to navigate a minion because for their whatever. And okay, before someone leaves, someone starts. Let's start with 5. He'll start by Moedim. We spoke about the 6.
No, 6 people has to start Shemoneh.
The 6th guy coming in by Moedim doesn't make.
No, that's not Tefillah B'tzibur. No. That's 5 people who daven by Yechidas. That's 5 people down the Then you have 6 people down the Yeah,
6 people start together the first bracha.
You have 6 people, you have to start Tefillah B'tzibur. And I mentioned, some poskim say it's only contemporary poskim say that as the Eved is if you start and you when you start at Shemoneh Esrei, when the other people is still in the first bracha, that's also considered the first bracha. We try to give loopholes because that's not the ideal thing. The ideal thing is coming on time. People are loopholes. Yeah, that's the problem. They only get sometimes when they give a shin halucha. So people come over to me and say, "Why did you say that there's a heter like this?" It says because people here only the tired and they forget the basics.
But I'm saying is that you're saying right now, and that's what I heard before also, that if the 7th guy comes and joins, then he's joining Tefillah B'tzibur, as long as the minion is.
If 6 people at a time, and then you have 4 people too. You have to have 10 people.
Right. And then you have a 7th person who's starting now, so he's Tefillah B'tzibur until the end of the first round.
Yes.
But if you have 5 people and the 6th guy joins,
That's not acceptable. You have to wait, then wait till he holds by Baruch, and then you go.
Let's say it's tefillah. They have to pronounce all the words.
What do you mean? Or you could.
You see somebody davening, you're not so sure they know how to say it. Whatever, they're davening.
Okay, now you're going into a very different thing. The shlichim have this all kind of problem. What?
You said it's too complicated. You don't my talk.
6 people is
Bציבור, yeah.
6 people is or is that you could be chayzer.
Ich will nicht.
The Lashon
Mishnah Berurah
he says Lashon like it's keilu.
is keilu. It's nicht so sehr pushed. Aber again, I don't want to go. The Mishnah Berurah, the Alter Rebbe is mashma auch so that he mentioned very good.
Kamina would be if, let's say everyone already heard the Chazar Shas. So would there be any reason to try to make
They're throwing a very interesting thing, and your deacon Alter Rebbe is correct. But Lamaisa, let me go Lamaisa, the klal is ungenehm in Weislich. In the Gemara steht, when you want to know how it goes, Poik Chazoi Mai Amruver, but ungenehm as we the apostles that if you have 6 people, it's still a bציבור. I mentioned in the beginning that I was already once in New Hampshire, and we had 6 or 7 people who went down. We had 3 or 4 yeshivish guys, and they had to be a later minion. But we wanted down before the shki. They didn't want to down with us. Your own 10 people, I don't know down. That's a little bit. But the Mishmir Shleit is clear. Alter Rebbe is auch das Liga, aber Maße, the Chloinem, yeah, but when 6 people who start, that's a little bit.
Ich meine, der Rebbe schreibt vor. Der Super gemacht some mistakes, andere, die mit dem Jud haben sie gemacht some mistakes.
Yeah, okay, but like we should know that Tefillah bציבור is achiv, Tefillah bציבור is complicated, Tefillah bציבור is a große Sache. Because Tefillah bציבור, even if you don't, the Rebbe Shem hears it. Eine Kudish Shvurik Lamaz, the Tefillah bציבור. So when you want to ask something, you have a choyle toch bei sich, right? Shechanur give you test, you can ask by the fine. Weißt du, Alter Rebbe, Shechanur, but it's nicht die Meaning, meine ich. Ja, ich weiß nicht die Meaning. Und ich bin bei der andere Welt.
Was ist mehr Tefillah?
Weil ich kann man auch, alle mit Tefillah, such dort der Alter Rebbe, as when you ask me down the tzibur bichidas, not necessarily the boy shlomo can listen, but when a tzibur dams, the boy shlomo listens. So it's nicht gedai, it's gedai. Yeah. It's gewann a bisschen aus Wilsel, Tefillah bציבור bekal, but the tzibur is dams pushing.
Where is the tzibur down in 20 minutes?
You don't know.
Then you do, then du bist gerecht. Then you have to. He's right. Heroes alle Sachen say my condition, but that's only if you want to daven more than 20 minutes. If because you decided that you want to daven 50 minutes, then I mentioned daven. He's right. Tefillah bציבור is not doing the daven.
Correct. So I want to ask you in the beginning when you said, should I want to know Tefillah bציבור davening or just saying words?
No, Tefillah bציבור means daven.
But
we should not nicht. I heard from Rabbi Yoel a moed about it. Rabbi Yoel was schon weiß. He was our Rebbe, Chassidus Rebbe. So Rabbi Yoel hat verbringt, we can do so. Geht für Psholbrook. It's a very important story. This. Let's say the will daven tak bewogen noch. Aber das tak mit daven. Vielleicht Rabbi Yoel I besuchen so. Maar Rebbe Psholbrook hat verteilt am Maas. Och, wenn der Bucher noch was will daven, muss haben geschaut, dass der Gedische Reise der Rebbe von nicht nehmen, das war größer Chassidum. You know, without was geschlossen nach. Rabbi Psholbrook hat gesagt, auf Bucher, hat auch gewollt daven mal weiter. Psholbrook so. Sie gewinnen mal Ayid, which had a fabrik. I got a fabrik, it verkauft items. Fabrik means a factory. Factory. If he sold items. So once came a guy and he wanted to purchase $100,000 in Schair, in goods. Oh, I mean deal? No problem. His truck came right next front from the door, and they started bringing out all the goods, all the products. By delivering the package, the boxes, they broke the glass of the front door. Broke it, weißt du. Der about tefillah, what's his name? The Soicher. Macht the cash was when you $200 rechnet, was you machen? I make $100,000 deal. Heck with it. Gegangen, warte, schon. Verkauft es gemacht, das eine von uns. But after you have to close the door, so he brought down a guy, $200, he paid, gegangen warte. Next day, the children spielt sich draußen, and one guy took a stone and threw it and broke the window. Der schlicht, der Soicher geht raus, hat sich schreien, what's going on with you? You broke a window, cost $200. I don't understand. We saw yesterday there was people broke their word. You didn't scream. You have a smile on your face. Why? You're getting angry. Zoekt van die ingelen, die naar. Nicht aber verdient $100,000 en men wird gewinnt $200 zu bezahlen voor een glas. Just breaking the windows for gar nicht? So fragt am Schol so, the boy schon gesagt, you breaking a window? Das ist Bציבור. Okay, let's see how much I'm going to gain. If I'm going to gain $100,000, I'm ready for it. But stammen zu brechen nach Fenster without paying anything, just not davening mit Bציבור and ich davening auch nicht, that's not a chesed. Das ist wie oft ich habe gesagt, zu brechen ist kein Windows. If you could give for the boy what you should take out, that's mine. If not, don't break windows, you know.